For this 4-part mini-series, I teamed up with Jonas Tyroller. We made a board game, turned ourselves into a boss fight, used barcode scanners as an input device, and went into the forest to make a game with nothing but sticks and stones. 2 of these videos will appear here on my channel, while the other 2 will appear on Jonas's channel, so make sure to subscribe to both. The digital world is chock full of incredible tools and opportunities. I'm trying to find a balance between my passion for creating video games and working on skills away from computers. In this video, I explore board game design, attempting to create a great looking prototype in one day using classic materials such as paper, clay, dice, cards, and more. Because over the past 2 years I've been in love with these fascinating pieces of work, from Dominion's fast-paced deck building to Santorini's gorgeous visuals. So the question is, can I learn this craft, which in many ways resembles video games with its designing of rules, mechanics, and art? But on the other hand, there's a lot more simplicity because there's no programming or complex softwares involved. So here's a short story of how we created our game Townshift, from the early idea phase all the way to the final playtest.
What usually helps me when designing board games is just coming up with some sort of setting or theme first.
So what theme would you be interested in exploring?
I mean, you remember that little map we saw yesterday in the city with the tiny little houses?
Yeah.
I feel like those are easy to build out of clay. Lots of little town pieces or something like that.
I really like that.
Some sort of puzzle game where you have to fit them on a map or something.
It is a placement building game, okay? It's kind of like a versus mode as well. You've got to fill out every square with a building, but to make that harder, there's me attacking you at the same time. Or like shifting your squares or moving your houses around with cards.
Or there are 2 rivaling villages and you're kind of trying to build in a way where you cut the other one off or sneak past them.
So it's a versus game, right? The end goal, the win state, is filling every square with a building. Every turn you can place buildings, play cards that are going to shift the terrain of the opponents and make it harder.
Thematically, how does that fit into the fantasy of building a city?
It's like a
moving tiles.
It's a fantasy-like city.
City in the clouds, or like
exactly, yeah, it's a wizard citadel or something.
So I feel like the first thing we should really try to focus on is getting something playable.
Exactly.
And then as step 2 we'll try to make a nice looking version.
Of course, then we'll have to, we've got clay guys.
Playtest recording 849. What if I don't have any card that places a building?
So first we'll just draw a card, and I would say...
True,
I'd say we need a lot of building cards.
Maybe place building should just be a default option that's always available.
Yeah, exactly. You can either play a card or place a building, which is cost an action.
I like it because then we can also put more interesting stuff on the cards.
Yeah.
Like place building is not an interesting thing to be on a card
If we don't
anyway.
place building, we're gonna have to have like at least half the deck place building.
Yeah.
And it's not cool. Try and think of the most unique cards possible, and then we just see which ones are good, which ones are bad.
Slap your opponent in the face, and if he survives...
Yeah. If you knock out your opponent, you win the game. As a win condition, as a victory condition.
Yeah, so we thought about making some random win conditions, so every time you play you have a different win condition.
Right. No longer win if you've got like a group of 4 buildings, you know, like 2 by 2, that's no longer the win condition. The game ends once the complete map is filled with tiles, be it neutral tiles or your tile or the enemies, and there's like a point system here. So for example, in this example, you get 10 points every time you get a square, and also 5 points whenever you've got a tower adjacent to a normal house.
Yeah, we made a bunch of victory conditions.
This is not actually conditions, just like how to gain points.
Yeah.
For a quick recap, each player is a competing wizard architect. At the start of the game, each player draws 3 cards. Every turn we draw an extra card. Cards can help you build, move houses around, steal or counter your opponent's cards, and of course destroy your rivals' carefully laid out plans. Once you've drawn your card on your turn, you must place 1 house on the grid. You can either place on an empty square or on top of one of your existing houses to create a tower. Tower can be part of the scoring system. For example, some rewards could be gained 5 points per tower, but they can also help with the second phase of your turn, which is playing 1 card from your hand. This is optional. Cards have various effects, and we made 40 unique card effects in total. Many cards cost something to be played. For example, to play a certain card, you might need several towers, or perhaps you'll need to discard a card from your hand, or have 3 houses in a row. Some powerful cards even require you to destroy one of your houses or towers. Once all grid spaces are full, the player who scores the most points according to that game's specific point system will win. So how has this morning been, Jonas? What do you think?
We struck gold very soon. I feel
We got
like.
lucky. I think we definitely got lucky. We immediately came up with concepts we both kind of liked. Plan this afternoon is to playtest what we've got, and after that, the remainder of the day will be spent beautifying the creation using the clay to make cool little sculptures, little towers. So we spent some time balancing the cards and mechanics, trying to simplify the rules whenever possible. One of the many things I greatly enjoyed throughout this morning was discovering Jonas's collection of excellent prototyping materials. For example, these solid white cards. When trying to prototype games, surrounding oneself with simple, good materials like large sheets of paper, packets of dice, a whiteboard, and a clean, spacious table can really go a long way. It's 3 o'clock now. We've got a couple hours left. And what's the good news, Jonas?
The good news is we got the gameplay pretty much figured out. We have a very well working prototype that I think we both really enjoyed.
Super happy with it. Yeah, it's like it's all done in a couple hours. Congratulations, man.
I mean, I enjoyed to a point. We both, I think, enjoyed it to a point where we
wanted to play again.
We wanted to play it again, so that's a good sign.
Got a lot of art to create.
Yeah. Set a time budget for each task. We have the playing field, we have the cards, and with the models.
3 things. It's not too much.
And we have to paint the models.
Quite agreeable.
Alright.
Quite agreeable to the touch.
I like those bushes. These are looking good. They're also looking kind of blackthornish. There you go. Bake yourself.
We began creating the models, and as we said throughout the process, we needed to be content with them looking rustique, or just good enough. They weren't polished, and if you zoom in too close, they look pretty rough. Our goal was for the overall feel and look of the game to be satisfying, not individual details. We were extremely productive thanks to the time limit pressure, deciding on making 10 models for trees, which act as neutral blocks you can place with certain cards, then 10 houses and 10 towers for each player. A total of 50 figurines needed to be handcrafted and painted. I thoroughly enjoyed working with clay outdoors. Here we were adding 3D elements to our little board game.
Some parts fell off, then glue them back together, then paint them.
It's stuck. Then, while we waited for the clay and glue to harden and set, we began polishing the 40 unique cards. Each of us worked on some part of that rather long and tedious process, from rewriting everything in a nice chunky font, creating simple and consistent icons for the card's costs, without forgetting of course to add a mini design to illustrate each card effect. Finishing up the painting of our figurines for our board game.
Things took a lot longer than expected.
Yeah, I didn't see the sun starting to set. So we've been working for almost 12 hours.
In charge of doing art things, of course.
No control Z.
No, there's not.
For the last part of the video where Jonas and I play a complete session of our board game, Township, I wanted to thank you for checking out the devlog, and I also highly recommend that you subscribe to both channels since we created 3 other completely unique experiments. Links in the description. Alright, let's now get down to the final playtest. Who will win? Who will design the ultimate wizard town? Alright, so we've got our deck of cards.
Okay, and here I have the deck of objectives.
Yeah, the
Which
point system basically.
Looks quite nice.
So yeah, let's just
we'll draw
a random one, see how we earn points for this particular game.
Alright, draw one.
Alright, interesting. So we get 2 points per square, like a layout of 4, basically, houses. And also when we get 1 tower adjacent to any building.
Alright, I'll put that here. And so everybody takes 3 cards.
I've got 3 cards in hand. Let's say I start. And so first thing I need to do is place a building.
Yeah.
I'm gonna place it here.
I draw a card.
Yeah.
And I place a building here.
Fair enough. 2. And remind viewers, Jonas, how the game ends.
The game ends either when all of the tiles on the map are full, or if this deck runs out of cards. Draw, yeah, great that you remind me of that. I'm gonna place building here.
Whoa, got some good cards, man. I like it. I'm just gonna place a building here and pass on to you. As you can see, the beginning of the game was pretty even, each of us keeping our precious cards, waiting for the right moment to pounce. This building here, and I'm going to play this card here, which actually it requires me to have at least 1 tower, and I can place 2 forests adjacent to each other.
Okay, perfect.
And here.
Okay, fair enough. Here, the opponent has to destroy 2 buildings, but you can choose which ones.
Oh, that's nasty.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really nasty card, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm destroying.
Oh.
That is nasty. Okay.
Oh,
I like this one. So I want to build here. And I want to play this free card. And basically let the opponent decide where you build the building.
Oh.
So I'm more or less caught up what I lost.
Okay. So I can place one of your buildings here.
Okay.
I have so many cards in my hand.
Lots of
they're
options
really upgrade this to a tower.
Yeah, good one. Keep in mind that each of us is playing with this all-important score system in mind. We really need towers and 2x2s to score points and hope to win.
What card do you have now?
It costs 2 towers, and you choose any of your buildings to destroy all adjacent ones.
Oh no!
I'll destroy these 2 here.
What are you doing to me?
Yes.
Placing one house here, discarding 2 cards to destroy an entire row. I'll get rid of these 2.
Okay, fine. Use free action, move in any building to an adjacent tile.
In here.
Yeah.
Just place 1 building card.
Got a square, guys.
Yeah.
He's got a square.
I got 2 points.
Ooh.
Now would be a good time for me to end the game.
Yeah. Remove a card from my hand, move 1 row by 1 tile. Like this.
Oh yeah.
It's no longer a square.
Okay, transform an enemy building into one of your own.
Oh,
really nasty.
shit.
Okay, place one here. Oh, build a tower, that's nice.
At this point, Jonas is clearly winning. He has more towers, each scoring him points.
Okay, we'll end it.
Yeah.
We'll end it. We'll end the suffering.
Despite my best efforts, Jonas would sadly win this game, scoring 4 points, while I only earned 2.
The end of the day.
We've made it, Jonas. We've made it. What is the conclusion of this day, Jonas? How do you feel this day went? Like out of 10, how satisfied are you with what we've made?
I'm pretty satisfied.
So of course this is by not finished game. This is a really nice looking and solid prototype. Something you could actually get people testing. It's not like flimsy pieces of paper which people will immediately reject just because it looks ugly, it feels horrible. This at least feels good, looks cool. And then from there you can listen to their feedback and decide whether or not to expand on the game.
Really, I kind of can't believe that we made this in one day because as mentioned, I've tried so many times to make board games and never get this far in a day. Never ever. I usually scrap my board game projects after a while.
With that said, this was a great experience and I look forward to making many more board and card games in the future. We would love to hear your thoughts about this mini project, and also if you have any good tips when it comes down to board game design or projects you've worked on in the past and wish to share a mini story of how that was made. Thanks a ton for watching, see you really soon.